Hi Taty, I'm making a video for you. Tris was watching your video, I Get It, your newest vlog, and I popped out because it triggered me to come out. And this is really important because I haven't been out. I haven't been coming out and I haven't been comfortable to, but your video actually made me want to come out, and I did. And I'm not even going to look at the date right now because the thing that freaks me out the most is figuring out how much time I've lost. Because obviously I had the body for about 8 years straight, although I was using the other alters to do things, I still had primary control over the body, and I would still be the one to always return. And now I'm not. Ever since that last time when I tried to kill myself, Tris has had control of the body. And when I was watching your video, there were a lot of things that I wanted to share with you because I understand that we're going through this whole thing kind of together in a way. I don't know if it's because we're both Aries or what. I don't know what it is, but we just seem to be figuring so many things out at the same time, and I wanted to share some things with you. I'll try not to take all day. I'm including part of a video that I recorded, me, Casondra, when in 2013, the first time I ever admitted on camera that I hear voices in my head, and only a couple people actually commented and said, "You hear voices in your head, that's very, what the fuck?" Not that many people thought it was strange. Only a couple people thought it was. And I brought out my journal because there was a couple entries that I wanted to read to you, because I feel the same way that you do. And I think that it's important. I had a good day, or this is February 7th of this year. I had a good day. I went with the kids and Justin, and I even survived grocery shopping anxiety-free. I don't know how you feel about grocery shopping, but for me, it's like, I always feel like everyone's staring at me, and I hate it. I wear sunglasses because it helps. People look at me like I'm a douche, but I don't care. I've been reading this guy's blog. It's called Loving My DID Girls, or Loving My DID Wives. I think it's Loving My DID Girls. About his 3-decade journey with his wives, with DID, and it's given me some helpful tools to work with. For instance, I'm working on communicating with all of my alters, and I was. I think maybe that's how all of this happened, is that I wanted to open up communication, and now we have it. The ones that I can, anyway. I believe that my PK, my psychokinesis, is locked in one of them. Probably whichever one is responsible for all the crazy shit that happens when I get emotional or overwhelmed. And I don't know about you, but I know from watching your videos that you're an occultist, or you call yourself a witch. I don't know if it's more American to call yourself an occultist or what, I don't know. But regardless, that's kind of what I refer to myself as because I'm a member of OTO. And every time that I get extremely upset, crazy, psychokinetic phenomena happens. I've had windows shatter when I was really upset, and when I was a teenager, it was really bad. I've got a book of shadows that I've had since I was in 7th grade, 8th grade is when I started it, and it talks about all of the stuff because we thought we were haunted for a long time until we figured out that we had psychokinesis. And that's why when we were upset going through our sexual abuse and having all of this be a secret and going through all of it ourselves, we had all of this psychokinetic phenomena, and it was mostly alarm clocks being thrown at my head in the middle of the night, hearing ceaseless scratching around the walls next to me and stuff like that, and just all of this crazy stuff. But anyways, I think that my ability for that is locked in one of my alters, and I've started to get closer to figuring it out by researching holographic universe theory, which is really what witches use. They don't know it, but that's what we're using. Anyways, moving on. I think it's important to establish communication and take the lead. I want to be here. I am when I want to be. But I have abilities, normal and extra, trapped in all of these alters. If we can all work together and be strong, we can do things that we saw we would do. Because I think now, from watching your most recent video, you've come to the same realization I have, that, okay, yes, sometimes we can watch third person what our other alters are doing, but sometimes we're not there, are we? where are we? I call what I'm in Wonderland, because it's like a dream with simulations like Divergent to pass. And I think that it's like, I don't know how to describe it, but regardless, it's almost like the plane that we're in there, or the place that we're in there, is like practice for this world. Because when you have DID, it's really difficult to distinguish the difference between what's real in your head and what's real out here. It all seems very much the same. And the laws of physics out here are pretty easily broken, just as they are in your head. So anyways, even as I thought this earlier, my cell phone moved at me, or I moved it. The door popped open in front of me at one point. If I focus on what I want, I can do it. I forget to mention, I'm not going to read that. So I thought I'd write my progress. The point is, I'm here and I want to be. I'm taking the lead in my head. I've started referring to myself as the Supreme in my head. It means I'm in charge everywhere. No, really, and the others are my counsel. So, kind of like what you were talking about, I recognize now that I am the protector of us, and that it wasn't my job to be out all the time. And you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I was wrong in writing this a little bit. I was trying to be in charge because I was put here to handle everything until the original could come back and do it. I will respect them, mediate, and hopefully prevent us some headaches. I don't know if you get headaches when you switch, but when I have a switch and when we switch, I get bad headaches most of the time. I know I switch a lot during sex, I catch it a lot, and I can't help it. I have fears and insecurities, and they don't, or at least some of them don't. It's easier to let them do it, they're better at it. But I feel less able to do it. I feel less able to let go and have crazy tantric sex and the things that I used to see. Who saw those things? Was it me? Can I still do it? Because I can't seem to quiet my mind to do it anymore. Either way, I like my new counsel, and I'm trying to get all of them to love Justin, and to focus on him and the kids' needs too. I hope with my new counsel that we can all work together in this body, and maybe even get it to work out. Perhaps someday. I know the members of my council enough to tell the difference, and name them, which is something I fear, but also something I know is inevitable, because each voice wants to be heard and identified, and because I want to know what I'm dealing with. Justin has been amazing. I'm so lucky I have him. I've read about attachment theory and DID, and I know my worst fear will always be him leaving. He is my primary attachment figure, and it's scary to be honest with him, but I know he's not leaving and we can trust him. I am thankful that I have at least one person that I can be honest with about all of this. But anyways, I thought that was really important because that was me trying to take control and arrange communication between everyone. I feel like I let us all down by trying to kill myself and overreacting, or I don't know how to put it. I freaked out. I really freaked out. And I mean, I guess it was good because it let the original come back. But it's scary, and the scariest part is when I come out for so brief a time and I realize that it's been weeks, it's been so long, and that's scary. So I just wanted you to know, Taty, that I am so experiencing this also, and I feel like I'm at the same breakthrough point, except before all of this happened with Tris coming out, I thought that I was the original. I never actually thought that I might not be the original. I never thought that. The most astonishing thing of all of this is realizing that I'm not the original. And like you were saying with the lost time, and it's like we're given some of the memories to keep ourselves acting like the original. Like, you can kind of see the third person memories, but you don't have any, like, attachment or association with them. You know that it wasn't really, like, you that was doing it. You just sort of have this, like, vague memory. And then what I've noticed, because I've been with Justin for over 10 years, is that, and I have my journals, is that it's weird because my brain remembers things differently than they happened sometimes. And in researching holographic universe theory, I've actually learned that that's because all of the things we're seeing in our head, I don't know if you know much about holographic universe theory or how the eyes work, but it's basically all photons coming through your eyes and then being flipped around like a mirror image in there, and there's no light in your head, obviously. These are all just thoughts that are visualized. And so that's what kind of leads into this holographic universe theory and how we create our universe and our reality and all of this, and that's what witches are tapping into. But regardless, like, I realized that I wasn't meant to stay out for 8 years, and I realized that I wasn't meant to have control that long. I was just meant to stay until she could come back, I guess. But she seems to want us to all share the body because she recognizes that we're all here, and we should all have a right to live our lives. So I'm actually really thankful for that, because I've seen other cases of I'm sure you have other people that just don't seem to be handling it. And I think it's like you said, I really view it more as like we're all sisters, and we have like a sisterhood in our head. And so I think I was wrong to refer to them all as a council. I was trying to be in charge, but I guess that's just me being the protector. But I realize now that that's what I'm here for, because the only times that I have actually been coming out since Trish took over, she's been here for almost 2 months, the only times that I've come out is when she got upset and she felt threatened, or she felt upset in general, and then I would come out because I'm the one that will stand up and be argumentative, and I will, fight for whatever it is that we believe in. So it's like she's level 1 and she can handle stuff to a certain point, and I'm like level 2, and then there's even someone beyond us that is nameless right now, and she's never gotten a name. And it's because I guess she only comes out when I'm pushed too far. Because one of the other things I wanted to talk about is that I don't know if you have this experience, but there are things that have happened that neither Triss nor I remember. During this whole thing where I had tried to kill myself and all of this, my husband had come to check on me at one point, and he told me that I looked at him with completely dead eyes and told him that I had thought about killing him and that I was going to sit on him and stab him or something crazy. Regardless, he says that I totally said that, and that I totally said that I was going to kill him, and he said that he had never seen that look in my eyes before, and that I just looked like a completely different, dead person, and that it was so scary that that's why he got the protection order against me, because when the protection order was served to me, I was really upset and confused. I thought that he made up everything on that paper, because none of us have a memory of saying that we were going to kill him or any of that. So somewhere inside us, there is a level 3 person that deals with the craziest of situations. And I realize now that there could be things that none of us remember that have happened. And my husband realizes that too. So it's really scary in that way, knowing that, I have access to some of, I took over, it must have been 2008. I guess that's when I took over. But before that, it was Triss. She had the body, primarily, basically, as the primary person. So, I had access to some of her memories, but not all of them, and that's why some of the things that had happened, I remembered differently or didn't quite make sense or whatever. But, it's really hard to know that neither of us remember saying that creepy thing to my husband, and he swears that we did, and that's why he got a protection order against us, which, I mean, he dropped it, and, you know, obviously I'm home now and everything's fine, but that means that there's a third part of us somewhere inside us floating around that is very scary and very, maybe angry, I don't know. And so, you know, it's a scary thing to know that you could have done all of these things, and obviously it goes back to me talking about, like, Monarch Project experience and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know if you know what Manchurian candidates are, but that is something that I am extremely concerned with. So, anyways, I kind of wanted to share this with you, and then I also want to attach my short little clip from my video in 2013, kind of talking about how I used to basically refer to my voices in my head. This was, like, 3 years ago. I used to call anything, like, the only differentiation I had was that if it was, like, a thought that I didn't think was serving me, I would dismiss it and call it my ego. And then I would call everything that was a good voice or good voices my higher self. And so, obviously, as a witch, you would probably understand when I talk about channeling, because I used to do Pleiadian channelings all the time. And I actually really believe that a lot of the voices and stuff in my head that I was talking about at the time are channeled that way. And they're channeled because of our dissociative disorder. So, you know, obviously it's speculation to think about where these voices come from and why they tell us to do these things. But it's like thinking about the sheer amount of synchronicities and coincidences in my life to get me to realize all of the things today. It's just, like, mind-blowing. Like, it had to have been, there have definitely been people or guardian angels or the nameless things that we could call them helping me to tell me to research certain things, telling me to read certain books. Like, it just couldn't have happened any other way. Like, where do all these voices come from? And so that also ties into holographic universe theory, where there is only the illusion of separation, and possibly people like us with dissociative identity disorder, all we're doing is we have this natural tapping in that, like, the separation between us and other people, because maybe our our personal barriers were broken down at one point. I'm not sure, but regardless, I think because of our disorder, I think of it more as an advantage, actually. Possibly we're able to channel these and connect with all of these voices. See, it's kind of like coral on a reef. All of the little polyps would believe that they're having a separate experience, but they're really all connected, and so are we. And so I've studied a lot of other dissociated people to try and kind of put this idea together, okay? And I really think that's what's happening, because there are so many accounts of people with DID and MPD who have alters of people that they've never even heard of, because they have access to these cities in their head. And, you know, it's like they've never met some of these people. Some of them are opposite gendered, you know, and it doesn't fall into the typical MPD abuser alter type of thing where, like, you would have an alter based off of your abuser or anything like that. This is like people they've never heard of, you know, and they're those people are coming into them. It's like being a medium. So I kind of think that this is where this is going, is that it's the illusion of separation breaking down. So anyways, if you look into my liked videos, there's a lot of stuff on holographic universe theory in there if you're interested. I don't know if you are, but regardless, I really need to say thank you for making me come out, because I didn't feel comfortable to until I was midway, we were watching your video, and I just came out. And I probably won't even be here in the morning, because it's 3:56 and I'm going to have to go to sleep, and I don't know who will wake up. It'll probably be Tris. But I'm glad that you made me come out, and I wanted to record this video for you and put it together for you. So, anyways, I love you, Taty, and thank you for making your videos, and please never give up. Please never give up.
The key to all of this is really mastery over the ego and learning to dismiss negative thoughts. The ego is a tricky thing because sometimes you'll think you're doing something for the right reason, but you're just doing it because your ego is telling you it makes you a better person, and a lot of people will do that. So that is something also that Kimberly Klein was talking about. And so you really have to learn to manage your mind in that way so that, you're positive for the right reasons. You're not doing it just to, inflate your own ego to be so wonderful and all of this. You have to learn to dismiss negative thoughts, and that is the very head of killing the ego, not listening to the ego. Any sort of a negative thought that pops up into your head, you have to learn to tune it out, push it away. I mean, there are so many techniques for this, blowing it out of your whatever. There are different techniques, but basically you want to learn whatever works for you on how you can push away these negative thoughts out of your head every time they happen. And that is the main component of protecting yourself from any sort of electromagnetic frequency weapon, because they cannot work on anyone who has a high enough frequency that they're not going to hear anything negative like that coming in. And that's why I said that basically medications are what's behind all these shootings, because it puts you in that frequency and keeps you there. It's low frequency, and that's why they're called low frequency weapons. So anyways, raising your frequency has a lot to do with dismissing these negative thoughts, because every time you are able to push away your negative thoughts, you are able to channel your higher self, or positive thoughts, whatever will come into you. But basically, it's how you start learning to differentiate between the ego and the higher self, because you'll be able to recognize the voice of your ego a lot easier as time goes by.
So that was the first time that I admitted on camera ever, on October 5th, 2013, that I hear voices in my head.
You'll also be able to channel your higher self easier. My cat's coming up. Because you won't be listening to that. You'll start hearing new voices that are telling you positive things, like really good ideas. This whole awakening that I've had has led me to making orgone and doing Reiki and all of these wonderful things, because I started following the wonderful ideas that were popping up into my head and telling me to do these things. Don't ignore them.
So basically, what I just said is that in 2013, when I was going through this beginning of a spiritual awakening, basically, and trying to figure all of this out, I didn't know that I had dissociative identity disorder, and I didn't know the extent of it. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know any of that. And I had wrongfully, basically, dismissed the voices in my head. Whenever I heard a negative voice, I never really didn't differentiate it until this point. Whenever I heard a negative voice or some sort of like negative judgment or anything like that, I would call it the ego and dismiss it. And what I did was I utilized, as I've talked about in my other videos, the Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh formula to channel this, what I used to call the higher self, or the positive voices. And obviously it's up for debate, like what all these positive voices are, the voices that tell me to go research things, and the voices that have led me to this incredible discovery, and all of these discoveries. But regardless, this is basically me talking about how I dismiss voices in my head that don't serve me, and I try to only channel the voices that do.